I am Michael Peck, and this is my book review on The Sonic Boom by Joel Beckerman. The author focuses on the importance of sound. He explains how our mind is constantly filtering out sound all of the time, and he encourages the reader to take time out and just listen to all of the sounds that go on around us. I took Mr. Beckerman up on this challenge and sat quietly for 2 minutes. He was definitely correct about all of the sounds that we filter out. For example, I noticed how loud the neighbor's makeshift wind turbine was. Based on his test, the author had me hook, line, and sinker. Beckerman began to discuss the effects of sound on people's mood. For example, how to harness sound to influence consumer behavior. The author explained how slow music allowed customers to spend more time at a restaurant and more money. There have been several studies on the effects of sounds on people's mood. A new budding trend in the world of psychology is music therapy. According to the American Music Therapy Association, music therapy is the clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individual goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program. The author brought up examples of how the sound of fajitas at Chili's sells itself at the restaurant. In this case, I do believe the author is overstating the power of sound. In this particular instance, I think the sound is secondary to the smell and sight. I do agree that the sound is a powerful tool, and if used properly, it can alter the behavior and definitely the perception of consumers. In the happiest place on earth, Disney World, a soundtrack of silence is used to transition from section to section at Disney. Sound can also be used to incite certain feelings of panic. For example, in films like Hitchcock's 1960s classic Psycho, straining strings and overblowing brass are mimicking the noise of panic in nature. Here's a little snippet of that to jog your memory. This soundtrack has been etched in the brains of everyone who has seen that movie. It brings up images of that iconic shower scene. Even though the author is correct, I do feel that music is just one part of the process of affecting behavior. It is like with every other sense, if used in combination with other senses, it is powerful. I do think that sound needs to be an important part of the marketing mix, but it has to be used appropriately, just like anything else. I believe that Mr. Beckerman was accurate in his depiction of the power of sound, but sound alone is not as powerful as he makes it out to be. If you recall the example I used earlier in the book review about how a fancy restaurant uses slow music to make customers stay longer and spend more money, a great counter argument to that would be a fancy restaurant that uses great slow music, but it had a pungent odor, or if it looked unclean. No matter how great the soundtrack is, the other senses would override them. Sound is a great supplement to the marketing mix, but sorry, Mr. Beckerman, it's not the most prominent. Thank you for your time.